Welcome. We actually technically have two meetings that we are doing tonight. So we are going to be starting first with our annual statutorily required reorganization meeting. So it is Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026. It is 6 p.m. All board members are present here in person, and we will go ahead and call to order the reorganization meeting. And so we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And this is our first meeting of July, and as is our custom, we will read the mission statement, and Mr. Thompson will do that.
Washington Township's mission is to nurture our students into tomorrow's leaders by cultivating learning environments that ignite innovation, amplify diverse and critical thinking, and inspire growth and achievement.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Before we move on with our regular agenda tonight, we, as a board and a district, did want to acknowledge the loss of a real legend in our community, Ms. Barbara Wynn. So we did want to take a minute to acknowledge that. I do have a statement on behalf of the board and of the district to read, and then we'll take a moment of silence. Washington Township Schools joins our community in mourning the passing of Barbara Wynn, whose extraordinary legacy has shaped generations of students, families, and tennis players throughout our district and beyond. Barbara was far more than a pioneer in the sport of tennis. She was a tireless champion for children whose life work created opportunities, built confidence, and inspired excellence both on and off the court. As the founder of the Washington Township Tennis Program and the visionary whose name proudly adorns the Barbara S. Wynn Tennis Center at North Central High School, Barbara dedicated more than 6 decades to ensuring every child had the opportunity to learn, grow, and belong. Her impact can be measured not only in championships and nationally recognized programs, but in the thousands of young lives she influenced through her unwavering encouragement, compassion, and belief in their potential. On behalf of our Board of Education, students, staff, families, and alumni, we extend our heartfelt condolences to the Wynn family. Barbara's legacy will forever be woven into the fabric of Washington Township Schools. We are profoundly grateful for her lifelong commitment to our children and our community. She will be deeply missed, but her impact will continue to inspire future generations. And we'll just take a moment of silence. Thank you for that. We greatly appreciate her legacy. The next item on the agenda for the reorg part of the meeting is a little confusing. It is public comment, but we will also have a public comment period during the regular meeting. By law, we are required to take public comment before any action items, and there are some action items as part of the reorg meeting, such as electing our officers. So for public comment round 1 tonight, I would invite anyone who is so inclined. If you would like to address the board, you can approach the podium at this time. All right, and seeing no one, I'll go ahead and close the public comment for that. At this point, this is the one and only time that Dr. Taylor gets to take over a meeting as he leads us in the election of officers.
Thank you, President Fry. Good evening, everyone. This, as President Fry alluded to, this is the only meeting that I get to preside over to reorganize the Board of Education, and we'll start with the election of officers as our first order of business on our reorganization agenda. The floor is open for nomination of officers, so let's begin with the president. Is there a motion to nominate the board president?
I nominate Stephen Thompson for president.
I hear a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I hear a motion, and it's been seconded to nominate Mr. Stephen Thompson for board president. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Hearing none, I will close nominations and call to question all those in favor of Mr. Stephen Thompson being nominated as board president signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. All right, the motion passes 5-0. Congratulations, Mr. Thompson. The floor is now open for our second officer, which is vice president. Is there a motion to nominate a vice president?
I nominate Ms. Tracy Horth Kruger as vice president.
I hear a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I hear a motion and there's a second to nominate Ms. Tracy Horth Kruger as vice president. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Hearing none, I will close nominations and call to question. All those in favor of Ms. Tracy Horth Kruger being nominated as vice president signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations, Ms. Horth Kruger.
Yay.
And then finally, the floor is open for our third and final officer for board secretary. Is there a motion to nominate a board secretary?
I would like to nominate Deirdre George Davis as board secretary.
I hear a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I hear a motion and second to nominate Ms. Deirdre George Davis as secretary. Are there any other nominations on the floor? Hearing none, I will close nominations and call to question all those, I will close nominations and call to question all those in favor of Ms. Deirdre George Davis being nominated as board secretary signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes 5-0, and a final congratulations to you, Ms. George Davis. That concludes our election of officers in our reorg meeting. At this time, we'll go ahead and pass the gavel and management of the general meeting over to newly elected president, Mr. Stephen Thompson.
All right, we're gonna move on to appointment of treasurer and deputy treasurer. First, we'll go with the appointment of treasurer. Members of the board, Ms. Rebecca Smith serves as Washington Township Chief Financial Officer, and I recommend Ms. Rebecca Smith to be appointed as our legal treasurer. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Any discussion? I'll call for a vote, excuse me. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries 5-0. All right, we'll move on to bond for treasurer. Members of the board, our next item establishes a bond for our treasurer position in the amount of $150,000. This amount follows past practice, and I recommend that you approve the establishment of this bond for the treasurer in the amount of $150,000. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carries 5-0. We'll move on to the appointment of deputy treasurer. Members of the board, Ms. Phyllis Reitner serves as Washington Township as the accounting manager under Ms. Rebecca Smith's direction, and I recommend Ms. Reitner be appointed as our legal deputy treasurer.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No. Motion carries 5-0. All right, and we have our bond for deputy treasurer. Members of the board, our next item establishes a bond for our deputy treasurer position in the amount of $150,000. This amount follows past practice, and I recommend that you approve the establishment of this bond for the deputy treasurer in the amount of $150,000.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. All right, our next item is permission to pay in advance of board approval. This permission will allow us to pay the list of items on the agenda when the pay falls before or after the board meets. I recommend provision via board approval to pay in advance cash discount statements, payroll deductions, contract claims, registration and reimbursement for conferences, workshop, and monthly utilities. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. So moved. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. All right. Authority to use facsimile signatures. Excuse me. The next item requests your permission to use your signature for board-approved claims, board-approved contracts, diplomas for graduating seniors, and board-approved grants and supplemental services contracts. I ask for your approval to use FaxMile signatures for the specified 5 areas. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll call for, is there any discussion?
I just want to clarify if any of us someday are going to get in trouble for having used an auto pen because of this. That was a joke. That's all.
Okay, I will call for, any other discussion? I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying no. Motion carries 5-0. All righty. Permission for for the superintendent of schools to sign board-approved contracts. The board approval is requested to allow Superintendent Dr. Sean Taylor to sign board-approved contracts as superintendent of schools. These are contracts that have been approved prior at open school board meetings. I will call for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. All right, the next item is appointment of school attorney and designation of newspapers and qualified publications. Do I present that one too?
Mrs. Smith.
Oh, okay. What did I skip? Okay. Okay, just call Miss. And I invite Miss Smith up to present the next item.
Good evening, President, Superintendent, members of the board. This evening, we'd like to bring to your attention a recommended approval for annual legal services agreement with Bose McKinney and Evans, with Mr. John Mays as our lead for this next fiscal year, 26, 27. Forgot what year I'm in, but for general legal counsel services for MSD of Washington Township. The proposed agreement transitions the district from traditional hourly billing model to a hybrid structure that provides greater budget predictability while maintaining access to comprehensive legal services. Under the agreement that you have attached in your board docs, the district will pay a monthly retainer for routine legal services, including labor and employment advice, employee investigations, general law guidance, board governance, policy updates, contract review, real estate matters, employee benefits, collective bargaining, excluding mediation and fact-finding, constitution, construction law, and attendance at board meetings. Specialized legal services that fall outside the monthly retainer, including various things such as litigation, administrative proceedings, mediation, fact-finding, bond counsels, special education matters, operating referendums, and public affairs lobbying services will continue to be billed separately. These services may be billed at agreed upon hourly rates through the alternative fee arrangement established in advance for specific matters. The agreement also acknowledges that we do have 2 other firms that we use, Church Hiddle and Atrium, for our regular special ed services matters and board policy work, while Ice Miller will continue to serve as legal counsel for the district's other bonds and operating referendum and other duties. This revised fee structure provides the district with more predictability on budgeting for routine legal service, encourages timely consultation on day-to-day legal matters, and maintains flexibility to obtain specialized legal expertise when necessary. The agreement also includes standard terms regarding reimbursements of certain expenses, monthly invoices, payment terms, document retention, and the ability for either party to terminate the agreement according to applicable professional standards and laws. I would ask the board to approve Bose McKinney and Evans for our legal counsel for 26, 27, and also approve the agreement as presented.
Board, any questions? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. President, I move that we appoint the school attorney, improve legal services and district counsel as presented by Mrs. Smith.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
No.
Motion carries 4-1.
Thank you.
And for the last item, Board, I request your approval of the designation for the Indianapolis Star and the Court of Commercial Record to be the official publications to publish our legal notices.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. All right. That calls the end of our reorganization meeting. So I'm going to
I move to adjourn the
call for a
reorganization
motion.
meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll call for a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. That's done. All right. I'll do this again. Now I'm going to call our regular Board of Education meeting to order. It is 6:16 and all 5 board members are present. First item is board recognitions. Dr. Kaiser.
Thank you. Our first recognition this evening is Jaden Jefferson. Jaden, if you could please join Dr. Taylor up front to be recognized. We are very excited to congratulate Jaden Jefferson, a 2026 North Central High School graduate, on being selected as a recipient of the 2026 Adam Goodman Scholarship through the Indianapolis Urban League. Jaden earned this prestigious scholarship in recognition of her outstanding academic achievement, leadership, and participation in the AVID program. The Adam Goodman Scholarship is awarded annually to an exceptional student who has participated in the AVID program at the middle and/or high school level and has demonstrated a strong commitment to academic excellence and future success. Throughout her time at North Central, Jaden has maintained an impressive 4.13 GPA. She plans to attend Indiana University to pursue a degree in biology before continuing on to dental school with the goal of becoming an orthodontist. Congratulations, Jaden, on this well-deserved.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations. Turn around.
And now at this time, I would like to turn the meeting back over to our newly elected board president, Mr. Thompson, for a special recognition.
The school board and executive leadership team would like to express our sincere appreciation to Ms. Fry for her outstanding leadership, dedication, and service as board president during the 2025-2026 school year. We extend our heartfelt thanks for the time, commitment, and care she devoted to serving the students, staff, families, and community of Washington Township Schools. Your steady leadership and unwavering support have been deeply valued, and we are grateful for the positive impact you have made throughout your tenure as board president. And we have this great gavel that we get to present to you. So thank you, Ms. Fry, for your leadership.
That's great.
All right. The next item is Dr. Taylor's superintendent announcements.
Yeah, thank you, President-elect Thompson. I have a couple announcements tonight. Wanted to start off with some federal updates from our National Superintendents Association. There's several attachments there for your review, but I want to specifically call your attention to a national school funding update, which was a powerful study conducted by Dr. Bruce Baker out of the University of Miami that was published and endorsed by the National Research Council. And they concluded a few points that I think that the board and community should be aware of relative to school funding nationwide. Some of these are, I think, have been echoed in the past, so they shouldn't be surprises. But first one is, as school funding increases, student learning outcomes increase. And I know sometimes there is rhetoric out there that tries to dispute that, but this study verifies that. While nominal dollar amounts may rise, many states have experienced a permanent disinvestment in education. Fiscal effort specifically, which is the proportion of a state's economy dedicated to schools, was lower in 2023 than in 2006 in over 42 states, including Indiana. Nationwide, districts who have higher complexity, that's higher diversity rates, higher than average poverty, more students with English language support needs, students requiring special education services, require more funding to achieve the same learning outcomes as peer districts who experience less complexity. And so I would really encourage the board to take a look at that study because there's lots of really important information in there. I also wanted to give you an update from the Supreme Court on some legal findings for your review, and then finally some national election and education policy updates for your review. We have the 26-27 school year board liaison assignments for your signing up for this school year as we do per past practice. And so we appreciate the board's engagement with several of our committee work that happens throughout the district. School accountability. We know that last March, the Department of Education came out with a new accountability model. We had the privilege of Steve Baker coming to present at our admin kickoff meeting last Wednesday. Mr. Baker is a retired high school principal from Bluffton. He's been heavily involved in the accountability legislation and model development, and he came and presented to our team. Wanted to share a link with you of that model for your review, because even though it was just released last year, it will have implications for last year's data. So some important facts to note: we will receive a letter grade as a district, and each individual school will receive a letter grade. And we should know those letter grades in October or November based on, again, 25-26 school year results. Last year is being referred to as a 0 year, which means that any school who receives a poor letter grade will not be placed on a watch list until year one, which would be 26-27 school year, or this upcoming school year. Per past practice, we can anticipate that schools receiving poor performance grades for a certain number of consecutive years will likely receive some sort of state intervention. Attendance is now a huge part of how schools will be graded. More than 10 absences, regardless of excuse or not, will negatively impact school and district letter grades. And then schools or school districts who receive an A letter grade will experience additional flexibilities in the form of waivers, where they can try things like a 4-day school week. And so we wanted to make sure that some of those points were highlighted to the board. We're still diving into the model and making sure we make sense of it and can implement change even this year. So now that we better understand it, there are certainly some steps we can take depending on whatever grades we get here in October or November based on last school year. Also wanted to share with the board a construction update. It's always this time of year where the operations team is working round the clock to make sure that we are ready to receive staff and students here in just a few short weeks. And so wanted to provide a status update there. And then finally, back to school support signups. There's a link there for you to sign up per past practice. We love to be out in our buildings supporting staff, students, and families on those first few school days. And so that link is available for you, and we'd love for you to join us as your schedule permits. And that concludes my announcements. Mr. Thompson, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. First day of school is a special day.
Always a special day.
My birthday, too.
Oh.
All right, we'll take comments from the public. Is there anybody that's in the public that would like to speak? Okay, well, we're gonna move on to approval of, oh, yeah, oh, sorry. Dr. Kaiser. Didn't say.
Dr. Taylor, President Thompson, and members of the board, as you know, we ask any members of the board annually to file the Indiana Uniform Conflict of Interest Disclosure Statement, State Form 54266, when it is appropriate. Mr. Turner has submitted an annual conflict of interest form for continued disclosure that his spouse continues employment in Washington Township. Mrs. Horth Kruger has submitted an annual conflict of interest form for continued disclosure that her daughter continues employment in Washington Township. All details are on the forms in your board documents. If accepted by the board this evening, these forms will then be filed with the State Board of Accounts. At this time, I would like to request your vote to approve acceptance of these conflict of interest forms.
Any questions for Dr. Kaiser? Any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the annual conflict of interest forms submitted by Mr. Turner and Mrs. Horth Kruger.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying no. Motion carries 5-0. All right, next topic is the consent agenda. Dr. Kaiser.
Thank you. President Thompson and members of the school board, I recommend that you approve the consent agenda for this meeting. This consent agenda includes approval of minutes of the June 10th, 2026 regular meeting and the memorandum of the June 10th, 2026 executive session, approval of 5 payroll calculation summary reports, claims docket in the amount of $4,250,860.72, a human resources report containing for classified personnel 31 new hires, numbers 1 through 31, 21 resignations, numbers 1 through 21, 1 retirement, number 1, 2 terminations, numbers 1 and 2, 3 leaves, numbers 1 through 3, and for certified personnel, 22 new appointments, numbers 50 to 72, 18 resignations, numbers 86 to 103, 2 retirements, numbers 17 and 18, and 2 transfers, numbers 15 and 16. There is 1 non-competitive grant, gift, or donation to present for board approval. The approval of the Northview Librarian Services for the 2026-2027 school year in the amount of $53,200. Information has been provided in your board packet for your review.
All right, are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented by Dr. Kaiser.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. And in approving the consent agenda this evening, you all approved a very important position as a new hire here in Washington Township. I'm going to call on my good friend and Director of Transportation, Ms. Marla Palacios.
Good evening, Mr. President, Dr. Taylor, members of the board. Grady McGee brings more than 20 years of leadership experience in manufacturing and logistics with a proven track record of driving operational excellence, improving efficiency, and delivering results. Most recently, he served as Senior Director of Operations, overseeing 7 manufacturing and distribution facilities across Indiana, leading more than 600 employees and managing routing and distribution operations across the region. Throughout his career, logistics has been central to his work, but he recognizes that supporting a school district is more than an operational responsibility. It's a mission-critical commitment to students, staff, and the community. A proud Washington Township resident, Grady lives in the community with his wife, an elementary school principal, and their energetic 8-year-old son. He is honored to serve Washington Township and is committed to building strong relationships with students, families, staff, and community partners while helping ensure the district's operations support an outstanding educational experience. Ladies and gentlemen, our new Associate Director, Mr. Grady McGee.
Welcome. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Congratulations again. We're looking forward to having you. All right, the next item, moving on to action items. Dr. Kaiser, with approval of revised school calendars for the 26-27, 27-28 school year.
Thank you, President Thompson. I come to the board this evening seeking your approval of revised calendars for the 26-27 and 27-28 school years. You'll find those revised calendars in your board documents for this evening. And I'd like to highlight that the change in both calendars is to revert 2 planned e-learning days for students back into traditional days of in-person instruction. We're making this recommendation because in-person school is essential for optimal learning and also for emergency or weather cancellations. Switching to asynchronous instruction gives our families much greater flexibility to complete schoolwork on their own schedule. We've kept 1 planned e-learning day in November for both the 2026 and 2027-28 calendars. This falls on Election Day, keeping students safe while several of our schools serve as polling locations, and it also gives families and students a chance to practice that e-learning format ahead of time in the event that it will be used for a cancellation later in the year. I'd like to thank the families and the Washington Township Education Association for providing input before we finalize this recommendation. And I'd welcome any questions the board may have about those calendars at this time.
Board, any questions? I have one. And so if this gets approved tonight, what's our plan to communicate to the families of the council this change?
Sure. So we will post those immediately in the calendar section on the website. And then in our next newsletter update to families, we will include links so those calendars are visible as well.
Perfect. And just one more question. There was a September date that was a e-learning day, but that now will be an in-person day.
Absolutely. 2 days that were previously scheduled for e-learning in, I believe, September and March will both be converted to regular days of traditional instruction.
Board, I'll entertain a motion if there are any further questions.
I move that we approve the revised school calendar as presented by Dr. Kaiser.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Kaiser. Next up, you're next up. District Anonymous Reporting Tool.
Thank you. I also come to you this evening requesting your approval to renew a contract with Lightspeed Systems for the Help Me app. For the last several years, this app has given our students, parents, staff, and community members a 24/7 anonymous way to report safety concerns and access support resources. We've been extremely pleased with the results. Typically, this service has been funded by a grant in cooperation with the Central Indiana Educational Service Center. However, this grant announcement, originally expected in February, has been significantly delayed. So to prevent any gap in coverage, I'm asking to purchase the service directly using funds from the Operations Fund in the amount of $31,560.90. If ultimately we receive this grant again, once that announcement finally is made, we will be able to then fully reimburse the district for the cost of that. Our real concern was not having a lapse in support because that is actively used by the community.
Board, any questions? Yes, Mr. Truitt.
Just so that I understand, so is there an opportunity for us to just move forward and make the purchase and not have to worry about, I mean, grant funding is always good, but if it's going to be a struggle like this, is it an investment that at some point we might consider doing?
Yeah, I think that we want the system in place. If there continues to be this safety grant in cooperation with the CIESC and we have that paid for, we will certainly probably continue to apply for those funds to be able to do it, but we will make certain it's always in place. There are a few other things that are a part of that grant as well. And so it is a relatively easy lift on us to apply for that. So my recommendation would be to continue to work through. This is the first time that this grant has been so delayed. It's been one that's been in place for a while. So I don't have a good answer as to why it is this year, but my hope is it won't be like that.
Well, I appreciate the fact that it's not going to be interrupted, and that's the bottom line. So thank you.
So
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the renewal, excuse me, the renewal of the district's anonymous reporting tool as presented by Dr. Kaiser.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. All right, one more, Dr. Kaiser.
thank you. President Thompson, members of the board, my final request for this evening is approval for the second reading of Board Policy A301, which is our wireless communication device policy. As a reminder from our first reading in June, this revision keeps us compliant with the new Indiana code, which now requires that student devices be turned off and inaccessible for the entire school day, not just during instructional time, which is where it was in the past. The only change that I would like to highlight for you since our June reading is that we explicitly added smart glasses alongside smart watches to match the wording in our student handbooks and our code of conduct, which made reference to smart glasses. You will find the full redlined policy and the relevant student handbook and code of conduct language. That student handbook and code of conduct language, when we had talked about it in June, I had said that I would make sure that you had access to that as well, so you would see what the students and families would be receiving. This concludes my presentation of the second reading of revisions to Board Policy A301. And again, I'm pleased to answer any questions the board may have.
Board, any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the second reading of revisions and additions to board policies as presented by Dr. Kaiser.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Kaiser.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Mrs. Smith with approval of bus driver benefits repayment and accountability agreement.
Great. Thank you, Board President, Superintendent, members of the board. I bring to you this evening, you'll see in your board packet, is a proposed bus driver benefit repayment and accountability agreement, which is designed to protect the district's investment in recruiting and training school bus drivers, along with improving employee retention. This agreement has been in our transportation department for over a decade. However, the amounts have not been revised. That's why we're bringing it back to the board this evening. The agreement requires new hired drivers to remain employed in a driving position for a minimum of 2 full semesters. Employees who separate employment before fulfilling this commitment would be required to reimburse the district for certain costs, training costs, stipends, or certifications and any other expenses paid on their behalf. So I'll give you an example of the main thing that changed. In the past, whenever we're hiring drivers, they have a training that they do because they come to us with a permit. They do not have a CDL license at the time. When they come to us with a permit, there's a lot of training that we do, and we have an in-house trainer, wonderful trainer. And when we're doing that, they're not considered a regular employee. They're like a contracted person because they're not hired as a regular bus driver yet. So upon doing that, we used to pay them after 3 weeks or so, we used to pay them $180. Then after another 3 weeks, when they were finalized, we would pay them another 180. So if you think of that, that's up to a month and a half with $360 pay total. So we have not increased that in over a decade. So that has hindered our ability to get people in to be able to go through that training because they're not working at that time and it takes a lot of training and time to do that. So in the proposal, we have changed those amounts from the 180 to 360 that we used to have, and for various different ranges, depending on if they come to us with just a permit or a CDL. There's different variations that you'll see in the agreement. So now that it ranges from $250 to $800. So we believe that will help us entice people to be able to come and do that training and pay them for their time, unlike before when we paid such a low amount. So that's what we're asking for the board for that portion of it. And then there is the driver accountability portion that I talked about earlier, where if they leave within an amount of time, then they would pay us back that through their last check. If their last check did not have enough funds for that, then they would pay the district the remaining balance within 30 days. So they customarily sign this agreement every year at the back to school event that they have for all the bus drivers. So this is just changing the main amounts that we have not changed in over a decade. So we would ask the board's approval for this agreement as presented.
Board, any questions? Mr. Turner.
Just one quick one. So when you talk about that, basically clawback of the funds. So how, in the past, even though the amount was less, about how many did you have to do that left before the allotted time, do you think?
I would say 1 a year.
Okay, so it's not like the
No.
whole class, it's usually,
No,
okay. So it's
we
not
didn't have
a
that
normal-
many because we haven't had that many
Go through.
come to us without the CDL because
Okay.
it's so low and they couldn't do it without working. So yeah, I would say average 1 a year.
So that's not an issue.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Correct.
Any other questions? I have one.
Sure.
I see you guys are raising the amount. How much time, these people are spending almost a month with getting paid like $500, $600?
Right. It depends on the level that they come to us with. A permit, some have CDLs, some come to us as a bus assistant. So it's whatever they have available at the time. That's where there's the ranges. So we split out those ranges instead of just having the flat 180 and 360. So that's why you see the numbers 3, 4, and 5, and 6 to allow for their different aspects that they come to us with. Because sometimes we do run into the fact where someone might do that and then they don't end up either passing the CDL, so they can't be employed as a regular bus driver, and or end up being a bus assistant instead for a semester and then turn over to a bus driver. So it just depends. So that's why we have always paid them as like a contractor first to see, one, if they're going to like it, one, if they're going to pass the test, and then we make them regular employees.
Let me tag on to what he just said.
Sure.
They're not there 9 to 5. I mean, they're not there a full day. They're
No.
only-
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
It's varied on their schedule. It's just, yeah,
okay.
it could be a
That
couple
was like-
hours a
that's
day, 3
not-
times a week,
Okay,
whatever works around their schedule.
Okay,
It was like,
that
okay,
feels better.
I'm sorry.
I get what you're saying.
As a further point of clarification, don't we sometimes, if they want to, employ them as a bus assistant?
Yes.
And then they're working as bus assistant while they
Yep.
spend a couple hours. a
And
day?
you'll see that option in the agreement also. And that's why that's a different rate that we would pay
Okay.
for those.
quick coming full circle.
Awesome.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the bus driver benefits repayment and accountability agreement as presented by Mrs. Smith.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Mrs. Skavinsky.
Good evening, Superintendent Taylor, President Thompson, members of the board. I come to you today seeking permission to renew contracts for the 26-27 school year for occupational therapists and physical therapists in the MSD of Washington Township. Under the Individuals with Disabilities Act and Article 7, as a public school, we are required to provide related services, which are occupational and physical therapy, that allow students to access and benefit their education as well as reach their IEP goals. With over 2,000 students in the district, PK through 22, that receive some sort of special education services, we have a large team of physical therapists and occupational therapists to service our needs. I am coming before you today to just seek permission to renew these contracts. All funding comes from our special education grants that we are awarded through the state, as well as through Medicaid. So all of the fees, all of their hourly rates as contractors comes from those two buckets of funds. I'm happy to answer any questions that one may have.
Board, any questions? I have. Yes, Ms. Whitford.
So these are all renewals, you said.
Yeah.
So are we in good shape with the team coming back or?
We are. We're in great shape.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in great shape.
More-
They're just all contractors. And so, yes, that they're all that we need.
Thank you.
And I guess it's more of a comment for the public's benefit, but because we're a public school district, we have to provide services for students who may not be enrolled in Washington Township schools, but have legal settlement in Washington Township. They might go to a private school or they might go to another school, but we're required by law to provide services for those.
You are correct. In Washington Township, we actually have 15 non-pub schools. Washington Township actually has a full non-pub team that includes a school psychologist, a special education teacher, SLP, PT, OT, because we are required, as you stated, to service those students through a service plan.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the agreement with service providers, OT and PT for provided related service for students with IEP, PK through 22, as presented by Dr. Skibinski.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Dr. Skibinski. All right, next up, Mr. Elkins with approval of the North Central High School Student Athlete Handbook revisions.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor, President Thompson, members of the school board. I come to you this evening for approval for the North Central High School Student Athlete Handbook revisions. The North Central High School Athletic Department is submitting a comprehensive redesign of the Student Athlete Handbook for board approval. The current handbook was last updated in 2014. The proposed revision maintains all IHSAA mandated rules and eligibility standards while substantially modernizing the document structure, clarity, and completeness. The 2014 handbook served its purpose, but was identified by athletic department leadership as a document in need of modernization. This spring, administrators, athletic directors reviewed the handbook against current IHSA standards, emerging student conduct concerns, updated medical product protocols, and best practices at comparable Indiana high schools. The proposed revision reflects that review. The redesigned handbook accomplishes 5 primary goals: improves clarity and readability for students, families, and coaches through a structured, sectioned format with tables and defined terms. Adds procedural specificity in areas such as medical clearance documentation, healthy roster account requirements, and college recruiting logistics. It also expands and formalizes the Student Athletes Award Program, including 3 new named end-of-the-year awards: the Chuck Jones Scholarship, the Keith Strope Award, and then the Top Scholar Student Athlete for that school year. It also adds a section for unified sports. And lastly, it updates substance abuse language to explicitly include vaping alongside drugs, alcohol, and tobacco. What it is not changing: no IHSA mandated eligibility requirements, GPA standards, or disciplinary penalty structures have been altered. All 6 code of conduct rules remain substantially identical to the 2014 version. The redesign does not create new penalties or modify existing ones. It reorganizes and clarifies what is in place. And I'd also like to publicly thank Dr. Seaver and Principal Rent for their help on this document as well. Do you have any questions?
Board, any questions?
I got a real quick one.
Mr. Turner?
So this is more of just a quick question. So in the past, that last part that you read about not changing anything, which obviously you're not changing anything, but in the past, and maybe we've made the adjustment already, we used to set our standard a little higher than IHSA. Are we just now, everything is what IHSA, you know what I mean? So it's just whatever their mandate is, that's what we do. We don't try to exceed it.
Back in 2020, we were one of 3 schools in the state of Indiana that had the 2.0 rule. All the other 2 corporations, along with us at that same time, dropped the 2.0. So we are now on the level playing field with every other school corporation in the state of Indiana.
And it's now what, 1.9? Is it?
No, it's earning 5 credits.
So it's not even,
It could be 5 D minuses, you've earned 5 credits.
oh, wow, okay. That's what I thought. We were trying to set a higher standard.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. But we're following their rules.
Yes.
Just want to get that on the record.
The question I had, when do you guys give this to students? I know my son plays football, but never received it. I didn't know it existed.
Once it gets approved, it will be given to every coach at the All Coaches Workshop on Tuesday, July 28th. We're meeting from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is one of the documents on the agenda. So then, once we start practice on April 3rd, have a parent meeting. There'll be a QR code where people get that. They can also get it in a hard copy, depending on how they want that. It's also going to be sent out through social media on our website. And we're going to have this everywhere. And this will be our reference sheet when things come up, should parents ask, and we will also send it to them. It will also be part of our Panther program guide to where they can see that, and everything is on there, and they know that from golf to football to soccer to baseball, we are all following this new student handbook, student athlete handbook.
Thank you. Any other questions, board? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the North Central High School Student Athlete Handbook revisions as presented by Mr. Elkins.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Elkins. Thank you, Mr. Rent. All right, next up, Mr. Blom with approval of code of conduct updates.
Good evening, President Thompson, Dr. Taylor, members of the board. I come to you this evening seeking approval of an update to our student code of conduct. There is one change that we're recommending following the initial board approval of our code of conduct in May. We recommend adding forgery as a defined behavior descriptor because that is an option in Skyward as a referral type. Adding this to the code of conduct will provide consistency for our staff when navigating issues in which a student has engaged in falsifying or altering school documents, such as records, passes, signatures, or other materials. We recommend adding this to the list of possible infractions and also to our glossary of violations at the back of the code of conduct. I'm happy to answer any questions about this update.
Board, any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the code of conduct update as presented by Mr. Blum.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Blum. You're still up. 26-27 High Ability Honors Handbook.
I also come to you this evening seeking approval of our 2026-2027 High Ability Handbook. There are a couple of minor updates from last year's handbook. Previously, Indiana University was the only college specifically identified as offering dual credit courses in partnership with North Central. Vincennes University and Ivy Tech Community College have been added to that list. In the section that describes the elementary high ability identification process, we've added a reference to the Indiana Code that states 5th grade students who achieve above proficient on iLearn are automatically placed in corresponding math and or ELA courses, honors classes in middle school unless families opt out. That information is also reflected on the page that describes middle school honors program. On the JEL dual credit descriptions, we removed education careers as an option for dual credit because that program is now facilitated by North Central, not JEL. And for advanced college prep courses at North Central, on the list of courses in which students could receive dual credit, we removed French and Spanish options because students can actually receive advanced placement credit, not dual enrollment credit. Those are the only updates to our high ability handbook this year, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Board, any questions? Ms. Joyce Davis.
Regarding the iLearn students who are, you're saying they will automatically be placed in honors, but you're not saying they're the only ones.
Correct. Correct. That's just signifying that they don't have to request. They are in. They would actually opt out.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the 2026-2027 High Ability and Honors Handbook as presented by Mr. Baum.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Blum. Next up, instructions are Mr. Boots.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Dr. Taylor and members of the board. I am here this evening to ask for the approval of one project change order tonight. That change order is for Star Environmental at North Central Phase 2. That amount of that change order is a decrease, and I love to say that word, a decrease of $6,400. And of course, that money will go back into capital referendum funds. Be happy to answer any question.
Board, any questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the 2016-2020 capital project change orders as presented by Mr. Boots.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. All right, next up. Agreement for design services for athletic field.
Mr. President, yes, I am asking for approval of document B-133-2019 with Schmidt Associates for design services for athletic fields upgrades. The capital projects team is requesting that approval for the continuation of athletic field upgrades on the central campus. In general, the work will include all design work associated with upgrades to our varsity softball and baseball fields, as outlined in the agreement. Schmidt's extensive experience with our central campus upgrades and availability of historical and current data regarding the site made them the primary candidate for this project. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Board, any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the agreement for design services for North Central's athletic fields as presented by Mr. Boots.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was very nice to see the decrease in the construction material out in front of North Central. That was really great.
He's bringing more. Write that down.
Yeah.
All right.
We're getting there. The end is near.
Yeah. Mr. Bowles, bringing us some good news about money stuff staying the same.
I am. Good evening, President Thompson, Dr. Taylor, and members of the board. I'm here this evening to request approval of student meal prices for the 26-27 school year. Because we had a positive balance in our child nutrition funds, we have been approved by the DOE School of Finance for an exemption, which allows us to not increase our student meal prices if we so choose. Therefore, Child Nutrition recommends that there is no change to the student meal prices for this coming 26-27 school year. This applies to high school students as our elementary and middle school students are participating in CEP, allowing us to provide those meals to all K-8 students at no cost to them. Additional information has been provided for you in your board packet, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Board, any questions? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve student meal prices for the 26-27 school year as presented by Mr. Bowles.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Bowles. All right, next up, Dr. Whitman.
Good evening, Dr. Taylor, President Thompson, members of the board. I come to you tonight seeking approval to permanently continue the existing administrative practice of providing an additional $2 per hour compensation adjustment to instructional assistants who are directed by school administrators to serve as classroom substitutes and assume primary responsibility for classroom instruction and vision. If you recall, this practice was initially approved in September of 2022, and subsequently we extended it through the 25-26 school year to address substitute shortages, maintain continuity of instruction, and provide equitable compensation when IAs perform duties beyond their assigned role. After multiple years of implementation, the administration has determined that this strategy has become an effective and sustainable operational practice. During the 25-26 school year, the additional compensation resulted in a minimal fiscal impact of $3,428.60, while providing meaningful staffing flexibility and reducing instructional disruptions. Approval of this request will establish the compensation practice as permanent, while maintaining the implementation remains subject to annual budget appropriations approved through the district's regular budget process. If there are any questions, I'm happy to address those.
Board, any questions? I just have a comment, but this is a good thing because
It's a very good thing.
we are honoring our staff by appreciating them, saying, hey, you're picking up a role as a teacher, we're gonna pay you more like that. I have no more further questions. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the permanent extension of $2 per hour compensation for instructional assistants required to substitute as presented by Dr. Whit.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Great. Vector PD.
Next item. I am seeking approval to renew the annual contract for Vector Solutions for Vector PD tracking platform that covers the renewal cycle from August 1, 2026 through July 31 of 2027 at a cost of $11,077.70. The online system centralizes and simplifies the planning, management, tracking, and assessment of professional development for K-12 teachers and staff. It streamlines complex administrative workflows by handling event enrollment, attendance tracking, and the automated generation of certificates and professional development credits, which our instructional staff use for their renewal of their licensure. Additionally, it empowers educators to align their training activities while providing district leaders with actionable reporting and feedback tools to continuously evaluate and improve professional learning initiatives. It is important to note this is not the same as our compliance training. It is a different program under the same corporate umbrella. This is just for the license for Vector PD.
Board, any questions? Ms. Worthberger?
Yes, ma'am.
The financial impact, the $11,000, so that covers everything?
It only covers this part of the program that is our PD tracking system
Correct, but for all.
for everybody in the districts, for the whole
for all of our-
district.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the one-year contract renewal with Vector PD as presented by Dr. Whitman.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Whitman. Oh, nope, you're still up.
Nope,
Sorry.
come on. The
Right.
final item that I am seeking approval for is to amend the 26-27 administrative fringe benefits as a result of the classified pay restructure. What we did was we had 3 positions we moved into the administrative level 3, that with your permission, we would do so. And those 3 positions are the network supervisor, the technology supervisor, and the police lieutenant position. Does not change their compensation. It changes their administrative benefits.
Board, any questions?
I don't have, well, it is sort of a question, but it's more for the listening public. Can you just kind of give a high level overview of what that means to people who don't know HR speak?
Right. We have a document that provides a breakdown of administrative benefits for those who are in 3 different levels of administration, ranging everywhere from the superintendent and the cabinet through the levels of people who are directors, academic chairs, who receive a part of their compensation is additional benefits. It can include things from cell phone stipends to different compensation structures for what they pay for their health insurance benefits. For example, one of those 3 levels does provide some offsetting some expenses towards their health insurance benefits.
Perfect.
So it is a graduated level. It also does articulate different levels of benefits that include days off, vacation days.
Right.
Things like
Yeah, I just wanted to like kind of throw that out there that it's not just their health insurance.
It's not. It's a range of things that are part of their
Thank you.
their package.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the proposal to amend the 2025-2026 Administrator Fringe Benefits as presented by Dr. Whitman.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Whitman. For real this time. All right, next up, certainly not least, Dr. Seaver with 2027 graduation agreement with the Indiana State Fair Commission.
Good evening, Dr. Taylor, President Thompson, members of the board. I'm here this evening to present to you the approval of the 2027 graduation agreement with the Indiana State Fair Commission. We are requesting approval for this agreement, which would authorize MSD of Washington Township to use the Cortiva Coliseum and the Champions Pavilion at the Indiana State Fairgrounds for the 2027 North Central High School commencement ceremony to be held on Wednesday, June 2nd, 2027. We recommend board approval of this agreement to secure the venue for the 2027 ceremony. Pricing is consistent with the prior year and terms mirror the standard Coliseum use agreement structure used in previous years. And I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Board, any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the 2027 graduation agreement with the Indiana State Fair Commission as presented by Dr. Seaver.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Mark your calendars.
Yes, Wednesday, June 2nd. That's later this year than normal, right? That happens every few years, I think. So, all right, moving to our last item, and I suspect we won't have a lot because we've been on summer break, but special events and liaison reports. I'll start with Mrs. Fry.
Gosh, it's been so long, I can't remember now at this point, but I don't think anything significant. Yeah, although I'm happy to say, have a chance to tour the service center because I had to go to IT. And that was a first for me. So that's actually really impressive. And it's nice that it's very accessible, to employees during business hours. You just show up, but nice facilities, great people. The receptionist there is fantastic. But anyway, that was actually the first time I had not had a chance to do a tour past of the new service center, but I had a chance to check that out and look around and see some of the great PD spaces that are there now. Bump into Dr. Kaiser, who has taken advantage of the additional conference rooms and meeting space over there since there's very limited amount here. So for what it's worth, it was great to see that.
I know where I want to be for March Madness, up in that area. There's just all those TVs and couches. Ms. George Davis.
George Davis has been on summer break.
All right. Well, I am an overachiever, and I had the opportunity to present at a conference 2 weeks ago. I presented a poster called Proximity as Purpose, and it was an opportunity to present to other educators from around the nation about being a school board member and the importance of being present for like legislative events, conferences, school visits, and it was well received. And yeah, so I sent the board and Dr. Taylor pictures of the poster and stuff like that, but it was really, really cool. And included a lot of you guys from pictures I've taken over the years. So that was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. So, Ms. Worth Kruger.
I, like Mrs. George Davis, took some time off this summer, but getting ready to hit the bricks, get going, signed up for my committees, all good.
Same with me. Been out so long. When did we put that up?
And where's the clock?
This is new.
That's new, right?
not there last.
Okay, thank you. I think.
It wasn't here in June.
Between meetings.
I was like, I'm not even. Yeah, that is. I like that. That's nice.
No clock.
No,
I know, I had to look at your laptops. I know it's.
more time less in here.
It's like a Vegas casino.
All right, that's the end of our formal agenda, and I am gonna call a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Hey.
Motion adjourned.